Welcome back to the Kirk Miller Podcast. Today I have a man who I've only recently been introduced to through one of my clients, Adil, another phenomenal human being inside my program. And he follows my podcast, and he said to me, Kirk, I know you're bringing on some very interesting guests now, but there's one in particular I'd love for you to bring onto the podcast. I think his stories, he said, I think you'll love his story. I think you'll love him. And we met Zayd, didn't we, in a coffee shop in Westfields?
Yep.
And I think the time flew by. It was like, what?
Yeah, we planned for an hour, didn't we? Or less than that, we said, right? We went like hour, 20 minutes, right? Something like that.
Yes, it was a couple of hours easy. We were speaking. But this man is very humble. He's going to pat down a lot of what he's had to go through today. And I'm going to champion him as much as possible. But the reason I was so drawn to your story was, look, I'll just get it out there from the bat. Adil, basically, my client, he said to me, he's doing jiu-jitsu with a black belt. But what's unique about this man sat opposite me today is he's blind. Okay, he can't see. And I'm thinking, how the fuck, to put it bluntly, Zayd, can someone become a black belt in jiu-jitsu and, you know, coach and like, basically rag people like Adil, who's a big man around like a rag doll.
He's a big lad, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's a big old unit. He's got a big mouth as well. I know he's listening to this. In a good way. He's a great character, great personality. He is. But I was fascinated by that story, Zayd. I'm going to be straight, because I've always been fascinated by how people have overcame adversity, whether it's in business, whether it's with body, whether it's personal stuff. I just love people who have overcome a limiting belief or a challenge and use it as a positive. So, first and foremost, mate, I'm absolutely honoured to have you on today's
likewise. Thank you for having
podcast,
me.
I know you're
thank you.
And I love the fact he's known me 2 minutes, and all the people closest to me in my life call me Kirky, even though
you said it in your voice note, so I was like, I'm calling you Kirky for now. You make me feel comfortable around you, so I feel comfortable. I'm going to express that comfortability around you, brother.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that, because I think obviously where me and Zayd and a lot of people I think I coach and maybe listen to this, we come from very similar background in terms of the council estate.
Yep.
It's not been spoon-fed, and there's no judgment if someone has come from a more affluent background in the slightest, but it's great to hear people who have similar background to me who've really overcome challenges and are doing great things now, whether it's in business or just simply as a human. But yeah, what fascinated me even more so with your story as well, Zayd, is you kicked off life, right? You were able to see. It wasn't like you were born blind.
Yeah.
So how
okay.
Give people a bit of a background, where you're from and how did the journey begin for Zayd?
Would say normal.
Yeah.
In my world, that's all I knew. Could see. So it wasn't even a thing to even consider about losing vision or it's just a thing to reflect on back in the past, how much I didn't appreciate the free gift of stuff's attributes that we already have. Vision, hearing, taste, touch, functional bodies, all that kind of stuff. So just a normal kid in a council estate in East London called Walthamstow, in a borough called Waltham Forest. Single parent household, just my mother. And I lived that traditional East End life. I lived with my mum's side of the family, who are white Cockney cultured. My dad's side of the family, they're from Caribbean.
Yeah.
Didn't really have that much contact with them apart from my grandma, who was invested in me, to be fair, but of course I didn't see her as much as I saw my mum's side of the family. So I was raised in that culture. Calves, Christmases, pubs, alcohol, parties, family gatherings, just the simple life. The simple, as you call it, they call it chav life. I was living a chav life. For those who are not familiar with that term, I was living a chav life. And I enjoyed it, and I still miss it, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'm not that way inclined anymore, but I do miss it. I had great memories from there. So as a young man growing up, I was exposed to a lot of things that when I look back at it now, they're not normal things. Well, they shouldn't be deemed as normal anyway.
Yeah.
Because there are things that I would never, ever allow my children to be around and be cool with it. But it was just normal. And I think the reason why I was allowed to be around certain things that everyone was cool with it is because they grew up like that as well. My parents grew up like that. So it's just normal.
Yeah.
My grandma grew up like that. Do you know what I mean? So basically from there.
So when you say, just elaborate to the listeners, when you say shouldn't be exposed, you don't have to go into great depth.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I've been drinking alcohol since the age of 4 years old.
You were drinking alcohol?
Yeah. Like,
how did that happen?
Because every Christmases, all the family will have alcohol on the table.
Yeah.
There's some wine there. There's some beer there. I'm sipping it. Yeah, go have a drink, Aaron. Yeah, have a drink. And it's just normal.
And there's no... Because obviously at 4, you have no clue what's right or what's wrong or what you should be...
All I know is that tasted... For some reason, I don't know why, because alcohol innately tastes disgusting.
Right. You don't even drink now, do you not?
No, I don't drink anymore.
But at 4...
At 4, it tasted nice. I like the taste of this brand. It was called Diamond White. It was like a cider. You remember Diamond White?
That's not hardcore. That's no. When I think of Diamond White,
it was a cider, right?
Yeah, it's hardcore. It's, you see people on the streets drinking it. And all
I remember it tasted nice. I remember one time it was left in my front room, and I drank the remaining part of the bottle. And by the time my mum woke up, I'm running up and down, jumping on the sofa like some crazy man.
What age would this have been?
That was about 9 years old. Yeah, I just remember that vividly because they were laughing at me. My mum and her boyfriend were laughing at me because I was running up and down like some madman, hyperactive.
Yeah.
They checked, the little bastard drank all the Diamond White. That's why.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm trying to say? That stuff is like normal, it's overlooked.
You didn't know any other. So how did that affect other things? I mean, did you go to school regularly at this point?
Because that's what normal is to me.
Yeah.
All of the ramifications of that lifestyle is obviously what's going to happen as a normal as well. So I'm going to be around people who are like that, environment that's like that. So that's going to put me around certain types of people, and those certain types of people do certain types of things. So that's going to be more than likely the crowd I'm going to be in.
Yeah.
Naturally. So without getting into too much of it, I grew up into a certain kind of crowd behavior and culture.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I wasn't one of those crazy, out of control criminal kids, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Just, I was kind of a innocent boy. I was a nerd. I just like doing my thing. I like to play, do things that normal kids like to do, but be inside of a kind of weird life at the same time as a norm. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
No, it does. Yeah, of course it does.
And then after about 10 years, I went to my first holiday with my uncle. Now, my uncle, during this whole process, was my role model. He was a person who will never, ever allow or condone any of that kind of behavior to happen to me or allow me to participate proudly in any of those things that I was allowed to do outside of his presence. He's encouraged me to do good, encouraged me with manners, how to eat properly, how to talk to people, how to have respect, how to, all the good stuff, what to aspire to be, a good attitude to have, make the most of yourself, go learn how to fight. He was the one that told me about jiu-jitsu years ago, back when Hoist Gracie first dropped the first UFC. I think it was back in 1993 or something like that. Yeah. But he was saying from back then. But he's his own man, he does his own things. Yeah. He's a very, very busy man. So I see him periodically. But every time I did see him, it was impactful. Yeah.
So you just probably needed more of him at an early age.
Yeah, he was because I didn't have a father around me, a man to cultivate me. He was that part-time cultivator.
So when did you relate? Did you ever have a relationship with your father at all, or like?
Not really. As I grew up, you see him here and there, right? That's it. Didn't really have no strong relationship. I didn't have any bad feelings towards him either, so it wasn't a thing like that. Yeah. I don't have any bad feelings towards him now. Neither towards my mum. Yeah. So it's just from a perspective of I didn't have that guidance from a man. Yeah. That constant guidance that a young man should have. So that's what I was getting to. When I went to my first holiday with my uncle. What an experience. Oh my God. My first time abroad, I was with my cousins, his daughters. The vibe of just being in complete happiness every day, love, happiness, fun activities and whatnot. When I come back from there, I started to notice a deterioration of my vision.
What age was this?
This was 10 years old.
10 years old.
Yeah,
so just to elaborate to the listeners, because this is going to be going out on audio, Zaid, on podcasts, and we have the visual version, of course, on or YouTube that goes out as well. But to people listening or watching, up to the age of 10, were you just like the everyday kid? Were you very sporty? Were you playing football? Like, what was your...
I was one of those kids that just liked everything. Everything was fun. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Football was fun. Being naughty was fun. Yeah. Chasing girls was fun.
You had a lot of energy.
Yeah, just everything was fun. I used to go to horses a lot with my mum. My mum was a horse lover. Yeah. Excuse me.
That's okay.
So I used to go to her stables a lot with her. Had my own little horse, my own little pony. I used to go a lot of outings with my nan and granddad. They used to take me to the caravan every single year. That was a nice break away from all that kind of environment I was in. I used to love that. So yeah, everything up to then was just... It was normal. I was just a guy that just loved being loved and loved having fun. So whenever there was an opportunity of getting love, I'm all for it. That's all it was. I was that type of dude.
Of course, yeah. So, and then when did you first notice that there was something not quite right? You know, with your eyesight, was there?
It was just like not being able to see clear details on people's faces. So I'll be able to see individuals that I know, but things like fine details of grooves and creases, that's not there anymore. Or there'll be a person from far away, which wasn't far away up until then. Yeah. I could see a figure, I could see a clear, sorry, excuse me, keep knocking this microphone. Okay. A clear figure. Now I'm totally unable to identify who that figure is. But the figure's clear, if that makes sense. Yeah. When I say the figure's clear, I'm comparing it to now. I will never be able to see a figure far away at all. Yeah.
But at that point, so
that's when I realized, okay, my eyes are getting a bit bad, which is at that stage amazing if I had that vision now.
I understand, but as a kid, where you had like 100% vision, and then
so everything was normal, perfectly normal. And then this one time, I must have been doing my homework. I believe I was in year 6. Doing my homework in the kitchen. My mum was telling me to read something, and I was like, I can't read it. She thought I was lying to try and get out of doing the homework. Yeah. I'm crying like a little baby. I don't want to read it. I can't see it.
And you genuinely couldn't see it?
I couldn't see it it was a matter of having a book from far out there to bringing it close to that level. So holding it, I can't see it. Yeah. Stop crying and you'll be able to see it. Yeah. So from then is when we started to investigate and go to spectators, opticians for a little eye check. Then they realized, your eye is not as sharp as, it's below average. Yeah. So they monitored that for a bit. They gave me some glasses that cleared it up for a little bit. Yeah. Then with that started to it started to decrease a little bit more. So we got referred to Moorfields Eye Hospital. They done some thorough tests, and then they realized, they actually does have a problem. It's something to do with his retina. Haven't diagnosed it yet. So my uncle, he's so, like I was saying, whenever there's a story with me, my uncle is involved. He's so invested in my care.
He had your back.
He had my back. He was like my father. So he went out of his way. I don't know what type of things he did or went through in order to make this happen, but he took me for a second opinion over in America, in Philadelphia, in a hospital called Wills. And they couldn't find exactly what it was, but they concluded it is some kind of a complication with my retina. A bit later, after going through some more tests back at Moorfields, they diagnosed it as a thing called retinitis pigmentosa, which is basically a degenerate, it was a deterioration of the retina, in layman's terms. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I come to terms with that. And
what age is this? Sorry, just
pardon?
What age was this? It took you to America.
That was 2000. I was 12 then.
Okay.
That is when
Yeah.
he hit 2 birds with 1 stone. I don't know what he did or how he did it.
Yeah.
But I was a huge WWF fan at them times. I'm talking about fanatic.
Yeah, I was obsessed with that too.
Were you?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I remember the
Who's your
Ultimate
favourite
Warrior.
guy?
The Ultimate Warrior.
No, I was like after that.
Hulk Hogan.
You met Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan. No, it wasn't Andre the Giant, was it?
Yeah.
Andre the Giant.
The Undertaker as well.
Undertaker, the old, yeah, of course.
Triple H.
Triple H. That's the time that I was a fanatic.
Okay.
The Rock, Triple H,
Yes.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yes.
So when he took me to Wales, when he took me to America for the second opinion, he did it in a way where we first went to New York and he got us these tickets for WWF Raw in Madison Square Gardens. But he got this access to backstage where we got to meet the wrestlers in person.
Wow.
I was like, what? He made me meet my heroes. Yeah. Like I'm sitting there talking with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. He's signing autographs for me. I'm having pictures with The Undertaker, with Vince McMahon, Triple H, The Big Show. Hey, The Big Show is really a giant for real. No joke. He's massive. But so on and so forth. So this is an example of the kind of things my uncle would do to break his back just for my own interest.
Yeah.
So when we got back, like I said, sorry, I'm digressing.
No,
that was a part
relax,
of the,
man.
yeah. When we got back now, this is when they completely diagnosed it as retinitis pigmentosus. Now, that's what I'm living with. That's what I have to come to terms with, which I find it really hard to do, to be fair.
At 12, so
Yeah.
in a nutshell, that was when you knew your eyesight
being
was
the abnormal
gone.
kid, not being able to do the things to the full extent that I would want to be able to do them. It was heavy. It was heavy. I didn't like it. I used to cry to myself by myself and I feel sorry for myself, as you do as a kid.
Understandably so. Though,
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Understandably so, because you've had best part of 12 years of your life where you could see the world, you've experienced.
Exactly.
And that's why, to be honest, Zayd, I was so touched by this story, mate. You've had best part of 12 years of your life where you could do what normal people were doing, and then slowly but surely, obviously, it deteriorated. So how did that impact you emotionally, would you say, from the age of 12 to 16, even during like the remainder of your school year?
Badly. Made me super insecure.
Yeah.
But it did 2 things, simultaneously. It made me negatively, it made me really insecure. It made me pity myself, feel sorry for myself. Made me wish it upon others. Not wish it upon others, but pass the buck on. I used to say to myself, why me? I have all children in the world. Why me? Why not someone else? I used to do this by myself. No one knew this. My mum didn't know this. Nobody around me knew I used to cry to myself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it led me to, I guess that was the inner beast within me. It used to make me want to prove to other people before proving to myself that I can keep up with whatever you guys are doing. So if you want to play football, I'm going to play football too.
How?
You guys want to ride bikes, I'm going to ride bikes too.
Yeah.
Like my eyesight didn't change so much where it was like, let's just say it wasn't from clear vision to what it is right now.
Yes.
This built up over a course of more than 2 decades. So it's allowed me to adapt to it comfortably.
Okay.
Had it been sudden like this, I don't know how I would have coped.
Really? Yeah.
But during that process, it's just trying to prove to others that I can keep up with you. If not even that, do better. So that's what I ended up doing. I ended up playing football. I became kind of competent at playing football. And then to a point where I'm satisfied. Basketball. Imagine a blind guy playing basketball. I want you to imagine this, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Explain.
The way it works, yeah, I think you would agree. I think you would understand this, yeah, no matter what. It's the mind and how the body works, right? I can't literally see the hoop up there, right? What I can see is a backboard, and I know in the middle of that backboard is a hoop. And on the hoop is a net or a chain, right? So you would know if your ball goes in by the sound of that hoop, by the sound of that chain or net. So it's just repetition, trying to get that range, repetition. Then you start finding a range from all different parts of the key, the 3-pointer, and you become familiar with it. Then you start learning how to play properly with people. The only big thing that was difficult is when people used to pass the ball to me. Even though I did find a way how to adapt to it over time through experience, but I became at a competent level where I was satisfied and I can play in proper games with people and not be the the liability of the team. Mm-hmm. So again, when you get to that level, I don't care about it anymore. On to the next. And that's what, even for skateboarding, same thing, skateboarding. I want to get to a competent level. I want to be able to jump off walls, kickflip, jump downstairs, ollie over things. When I got to that level, I'm like, I know I can do it now. On to the next thing. So that was my whole thing. I never ever stuck to one hobby as long as I have done with jiu-jitsu. This is the only thing that I've done. Noticed the benefits from it and seeing it out to the end.
But the big takeaway for that, for me, for anyone listening, is because that, I can imagine the emotional challenge, the identity shift that you must have had.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Because you're probably questioning, right? Who am I? What am I all about? Because who would you have described yourself before this happening? Who would you have described Zaid as a person? If someone said, "Who is Zaid?" What traits?
Before who I am now?
Yeah, before age of 12, 13, when you knew that the eyes were deteriorating.
Oh, Zaid, Aaron. My parents know me as Aaron. That's what his name. Little Aaron was just a regular kid, innocent kid that knows nothing about anything. That's all he was. Mm-hmm. I can't really identify what little Aaron was, to be fair.
So would you say you didn't? So even before this happened, there was no real purpose and direction.
Yeah, no direction. I had no one to cultivate me towards a direction. So it's not like, I'll give you an example. When you're around, or if there's a child that's grown into a well-organized family, they have direction, they have stability, they're preparing their future for the kids. There's direction. They got tasks.
Yeah, the role models. Yeah,
they got role models. They got tasks. They can probably identify. Yeah, what are you? Well, I'm training to be
X,
a doctor.
Yeah.
There's no direct. I don't know what I want to be. All I know is that I want to be loved and have fun. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Me, fun, love. Me, fun, love. That's it.
Yeah.
But growing up as a teenager, I would identify myself as a fraud. Not being happy with myself and trying to be someone that other people would like. That's what I would identify myself then, looking back at it.
Yeah. Tell me more about that. So like what
do you mean? In what part?
So I would say, when you're saying that you're being a fraud.
Yeah.
In what way were you being a fraud? Because that's a strong word.
Meaning right now, I'm at peace with who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm content with who I am. Then everything was about being someone who other people like, or someone who other people would be scared of, or someone who other people would want to be around. Fact of the matter is wanting to be someone for others.
Okay.
Not for me.
I get it. How many people in life do you feel are like that?
To be fair.
Not how many people. So you can't put a number on it, but just how many people are not being congruent with who they are?
I think the majority, to be fair. Even that's a basic statement. But from my experience, I think most people do things
to please other people.
Yeah, for others. I don't think many people are content with themselves or even know themselves, to be fair. It's hard because where I'm at now, I'm getting better and better every day. I'm still a baby in this self-development, growth, resilience, mindset, discipline. But I would say I'm above average, above the majority of people. And it's like, I don't think people know what they actually are. You can never know who you are unless you actually know what you are. Like no one actually, from my experience, takes time out to think about, what am I? I mean, literally, what am I? My consciousness, my mind, my emotions, my body, the vehicle that I'm in. No one sits there and thinks about that stuff. How can you know who you are and navigate through life if you don't even know you don't even understand your own being, your vehicle that you're in, that you're stuck with forever, and expect to know who you are. We're so distracted by all these other things that we forget about ourselves, literally. Do you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you do.
No, 100%.
Or if I don't make sense.
No, I couldn't agree more. I get it.
It's crazy.
We're doing stuff. We all fall into that trap, and I did it for a number of years, and we still do every now and then now, but we're chasing instead of like, who am I trying to become? in pursuit of the goals I'm trying to achieve? Am I happy with the person I am in pursuit of those goals? Whereas a lot of people, I'll be happy with then, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy then. Or you're just doing stuff to fill your time up and going, am I happy with the things I'm filling my time up with? And that's, it's so powerful. So from the age of, say, 12 to 16 there, did you have to go to a different school, Zaid?
Yeah, so I did start secondary school at a normal mainstream school.
Yeah.
But it came to a point where I was the guy standing out because people had to organise all the books that we were reading to get put into a larger print form for me.
Yeah.
I used to have assistants in my classes to help me. And I don't know how it all got organised, but someone from a blind school, a representative from a blind school, come to visit me, and they observed me, analysed me, and see how bad my condition actually was. And then I think from there, they had somewhat of a discussion with my teachers, my parents, so on and so forth. And we made a swift transition for the following year to go to this blind school, which is amazing. Sorry.
Yeah. How did you? Was that quite an easy?
Yeah. That school was an easy street.
Yeah.
It was that school was more. I had more of an emotional connection there than educational purpose. I didn't really care about education. I had nobody to monitor and cultivate and support my education outside of that anyway. So education wasn't something I was interested in. It was I liked being there. I was cared for there. It was a place of peace. I think that's what I was actually searching for, craving peace. It was a place of peace. I felt safe there. I had fun there. I didn't have the anxieties I had when I was in the mainstream school because everyone's the same as me.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm not the one standing out anymore. We're all blind.
Yeah.
So that
helped you adapt.
That helped me tremendously. Trust me. That was a good transition. And I wasn't even actually I was just about to say I wasn't even shy or ashamed to tell people that I went to that school. I was to a certain degree. Like, I wasn't ashamed to tell my friends. All my friends knew.
Yeah.
So I hung about with normal friends outside of school.
Yeah.
Because I appeared to be normal. I did what normal people do. Yeah. And I was an outgoing guy. I did the extra stuff.
Yeah.
But when it comes to things like girls and that, see, this is when my other insecurities started coming in.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want girls to know that I'm blind now. So I used to pretend and act and do all types of weird, stupid stuff to try and divert my blindness. So
like what?
So I'll give you an example. When it comes to, I can't ever read my phone.
Yeah.
I got a phone, I don't have to answer obviously, but I can't read what's on it. So when girls used to show me their phones and say, oh look, is that picture? Yeah, look, it's me when I used to be like this. Oh yeah, is it? That's nice. Laugh. Like I'm actually looking at it. Just to brush it off, then I'll say something quickly.
Yeah.
To just divert the whole thing.
Yeah.
Then they'll send me messages or something right in front of them. It goes, do you get what I said? And I'll be like, nah, not really. I'll be listen.
Okay. You get good at styling it out, sort of thing.
Just styling it out.
Yeah.
Why don't you ever look at me in my eyes? Because my thoughts are just always, I'll make an excuse because I never look someone straight in the eyes because I don't even know where their face is.
Yeah.
So it was so draining to keep up with that shit.
Yeah.
It was so draining.
And when was the point where you just were like, enough's enough? Like,
when it got to the effort stage. Mm-hmm. When it got to the effort stage, that was around about when I was comfortable with being blind. When I became a Muslim, to be fair. Mm. When I became Muslim, I was out of a certain type of lifestyle that I was in. I don't really want to speak about the lifestyle because the lifestyle is petty crime and bad.
Yeah.
And bad. So whatever you can picture in and around that lifestyle, nothing to speak about and glorify, to be fair.
No, just on the streets, trouble here and there. You know what I mean?
You know how it goes.
I get it.
So when I left that, I found peace in Islam. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the actual what was being taught to me that was appealing. It was just the whole notion of not being in a certain crowd where I have to look over my back, worry about how to behave in front of people. It was just nothing but peace, love, and security, which you could tell the theme of the story, right?
Yeah,
from young kid to now.
Oh yeah,
then,
that's all you wanted.
Looking
And
for peace
down,
and security. That's all I'm looking for.
It's all deep down what everyone's looking for.
I think everyone's looking for that, right?
Is
peace and
love
security.
and connection. It's a fundamental human need, and
100%.
we just want to be happy and have good connections. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was the stage where I was like, you know what? I am who I am. I don't mind being blind. I tell people about being blind now. I proclaim it. I'm blind. People say, can you read that story? I can't see it. I'm blind. Believe it or not, I'm blind.
Yeah.
But you get the common reaction. So I had to learn how to adapt to people's reactions because apparently I don't appear to be blind.
No.
For me, I perceive it to be really clear because I don't look people in their face. I try to. Like right now, I'm trying to face your face.
Well, you are.
But I have no idea where my eyes are going.
Yeah.
Some people say you're looking me in my eye. There's times when I'm trying to look people in their face and they do this. Yeah. Because my eyes are obviously clearly looking somewhere to the left or right.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, sorry, I'm looking at you, mate. I can't see you properly, but so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So once I lost that insecurity, that made my life a lot more peaceful.
It sounds like to me it was at the point where you just mentally let yourself
come to terms with it.
Yeah, acceptance and let yourself mentally breathe. Because that must have been what for the best part of 10, 20 years.
That's 20 years.
Mentally
exhausted.
Trying to
hide that stuff.
Yeah. And I suppose I know obviously it's even more extreme when someone can't see, but I think on a tiny, smaller scale, it's equally exhausting when someone is not being themselves, irrelevant, whether they can see or not. When someone's not being themselves, it's mentally exhausting
100%.
Trying to be something or someone you're not.
That is so exhausting. I was actually speaking about this to someone the other day. The whole idea of actively trying to be someone you're not to being the person you actually want to be, the effort is equal. You might as well be the person that you want to be. Yeah. It is flipping draining trying to be someone you're not, tell you that.
Yeah.
Draining. With negative connotations to it, man.
Yeah.
Negative effects.
So who when you went through this shift, Zaid?
Which one?
When you went through this shift of like, you say, you turn to religion, and you just you finally let yourself breathe, right? That was like altered your roadmap for the better. And was there anyone in your life you had to lose when you made that? When you finally started to truly accept yourself, was there any friends that had to go? Were there any habits, environments that you had to move away from just to, move forward?
Yeah, but naturally, it wasn't forced. It was like, I'm not about to do anything anyway. In terms of the things I was doing before. So those relationships that I had with those types of people just naturally deteriorated. Obviously, we got phone calls here and there.
Yeah.
But I wasn't I was out every other day in places where these people can't physically get in contact with me. I was in mosques, I was in people's houses, I was traveling up to the Midlands, and I wasn't around anymore. I was living a totally different life.
Yeah.
So I did lose relationships with all those types of people that I was previously rolling with before.
Yeah.
But what did you mean? Indefinite?
No, just people. Because I just find sometimes. I mean, I know that as I've had to grow as a person, and I'm living in closer alliance to my true values.
Yeah.
People have naturally emerged from my life a little bit.
Naturally, right?
There's nothing personal, because equally
Exactly
when
that.
you generally find when your values shift and you're living in accordance to those values a little bit more, any people for me that tend to sort of emerge out of your life, then they probably wouldn't gel as much as they used to with you anyway, because you're clearly sharing different interests and stuff like
100%.
that. But I genuinely believe, Zayd, that some people are scared to push on in certain areas of their life because they're fearful of what other people might say, or if they've spent 10, 20, 30 years of their life in a certain friendship with certain colleagues, maybe even in a relationship, people are so scared to step into who they really want to be, and they'll settle around the people that are not holding them back, but putting a cap on the capabilities of a person, I feel.
That fear one is a bastard. I think that is the main thing of everything, right?
Yeah.
Just the fear of everything. Fear of, oh, I might not be able to accomplish it anyway. Fear that, oh, what are people going to think? Fear. Especially, yeah, I totally relate to what you're saying. I've learned that at the stage that I'm at now is that fear is the cause of all failure. And obviously, it's a natural emotion to have in it. It's just knowing how to manage it when it keeps appearing in your day-to-day plans, your thoughts. It's something you can't ignore, but you have to learn to embrace it and learn to manage it, which is the hardest thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kirky. Have you come to the point where you realize that thinking, concentrating and thinking and dealing with the noises in your head and all these impulses is harder than any physical activity or anything in the world? Just thinking, and trying to combat these thoughts and impulses, and trying to become better and better with your thoughts, and that it is difficult, man.
Yeah, I find that, just as you've just said, Zaid, fear can mean something different to every single person. You can look at fear as an opportunity to improve. You can look at fear as supremely negative and it's going to hold you back.
Yeah.
But the way I look at fear is, if that feeling and that word is popping into my head, what is it teaching me? And usually for me, when fear comes in, it's like a cue that I need to get out of my comfort zone. It's a cue that something needs to change, or I need to step up in some way. And I'm actually playing the game of life, because imagine if you'd never had fear and everything. Imagine never experiencing fear. For me, it's a sign you're not probably up to much in life.
Or you're a psychopath.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've watched some weird shit and listened to some weird shit, on Netflix and stuff. And I get it. Yeah, fear for me, I think usually on the sort of fear. I mean, I've been no guru saying this, but when you overcome fear, whether it's in sport, business, or any personal growth area of personal growth, that they're the moments you remember in life.
Those feelings are amazing.
They do.
Amazing. Overcoming any fear. I've taken many drugs growing up. Many drugs.
Yeah.
Drunk lots of alcohol.
Yeah.
All those are temporary feelings.
Correct.
Yeah. The feeling of accomplishing something and overcoming something you once feared, that feeling there is a drug to strive for. Wow. I'm willing to go through any process just to keep feeling it over and over again. Over and over again.
Because you're gonna find a way to meet the needs of your feelings anyway. So you might as well do something that's going to test you for a positive. So when did jiu-jitsu come into play, and how did that come about? Because I know that has been an obscene influence on your life and the people you're coaching now.
It's been one of the major impacts.
So how did that happen? And
so my uncle he brought it to my awareness as a young man, probably like 11 years old or something, like, you need to do jiu-jitsu. But when I first experienced it was just after I came out of prison back in 2010. I went to the gym trying to maintain my big, strong, muscular body shape that I accumulated over the previous couple of years before prison and after prison. And then during that process of trying to maintain it, I got a back injury. Then I thought to myself, what am I doing all this for? I'm getting big and big and big and big and big and big. Now my back's hurt. No use in it for me. And then that led me, a few months later, after my back got a little bit better, someone introduced me to this place in Shackwell Lane in Hackney to come to this MMA class. The first class was a jiu-jitsu class. And there's this skinny Asian guy, his name's Amir, he's a black belt now. He triangled me during this class. He triangled me. Triangle is a choke where you're in between someone's legs and legs are stronger than necks.
Yes.
Yeah. He put me, I don't know how I got there. All I know is that I wasn't able to breathe anymore, so I had to tap. And I panicked as well. And I couldn't believe this little skinny guy did this to me because I was a massive dude. I was about 15 stone. So that inspired me. And then a few months after that, I went to another place and I met this other guy called Abbas, who's a black belt today as well. Again, this is what sealed it for me because, again, I'm a big guy. I'm strong. I've always been able to have my own against people who are not fight competent. Do you know what I mean? Went to his class now and had a little mess. Not even a mess about. We come to sparring time. We're grappling, and what was the first thing he got me with? The first thing he got me with was an armbar, I believe. But he got it so quick. Got my arm. My arm's about to break. Tapped in quickly. I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe I can get him this time. So he hasn't sealed my belief yet that he's imposing his will on me. I still think I have a chance. Again, he tapped me out just as clinically as he did before, quickly. I'm like, okay, I even said to him, let's go, one more. Last one. The third time he caught me with a choke. I don't know how he did it. All I know is that his shin was in front of my throat, and then he pulled my head down into his shin. This little last scrap lasted a bit longer because I was giving it my all, and I was determined not to let him impose himself on me again. But the inevitable happened. He got me in a choke, and I submitted. So with that submission, I then submitted my ego and accepted what he's doing is imposing himself with knowledge that if you don't have it, you won't be able to beat it. And bear in mind, this guy was small, right? He's way smaller than me. He's physically weaker than me, but the knowledge that he has allows him to get the upper edge of me. So that's when I said, you know what? I need to learn this. I said to him, are you a black belt, yeah? And he's like, no, brother, I'm a blue belt. Huh? Blue belt? So you're not even a black belt and you're imposing your will on me like that? Okay, I'm definitely learning this. You've sold it to me. I know I got two choices to make. Ignore it, knowing that power exists, or accept it and try and embrace it. I picked the latter, went online that night, typed in the best BJJ school in London, Roger Gracie, one of the world's greatest practitioners. His school popped up. I signed up immediately. I didn't have that much money then, but I made sure I had the money to spend £230 to sign up, and a monthly fee of £100. I made sure I had that because it was valuable to me. I know that I wanted it. So you can't put a price on something that you deem as important and that you see value on. And story ends from there. Never stopped.
Yeah. And how long you been doing? How long did it take you to go from starting to obviously becoming a black belt now?
Until black belt. Black belt is really the starting point, to be fair. That is the white belt, the real and true white belt. But it took me 7 years. According to the universal guidelines, it takes people about 6 to 10, maybe 12 years to get a black belt. I don't really agree with that, to be fair. I think if you focus on the right things, it should take you about 3 years. To become to that level. Black belt meaning that's where it all begins. That's the starting point. Yeah. That's the beginning, opening gateway to mastery. But about 7 years.
Wow.
So but I was determined. It wasn't a thing where I'm trying to get to black belt. I've decided this is what I'm going to do. I like this. I want to get better and better. And then I started noticing the actual effects it's having on me as a person. This making me confident, making me problem solve it's just permeated my mind. Everything I used to do used to be evolved around thinking about jiu-jitsu. I used to be in my prayer praying to God and thoughts of jiu-jitsu would come up. I used to be with my missus at the time, jiu-jitsu popping up. Everything is jiu-jitsu. So yeah, it's one of the things.
And how has that helped? Because obviously we haven't touched on your family as well, right? Share with the listeners how many children you've got.
So I've got 18 children. No, I'm not Genghis Khan. I got 5 children. And a beloved stepdaughter who I deem as my daughter as well.
Amazing.
So I got 5 biological children.
And how much is you leading the way with sport and exercise and obviously the mindset shifts you've had, how important has that been in their development?
Right. They've grown up with my development as well. So my older kids are on the tail end of the best version of me. So as they're growing up, they're now witnessing the best version of me. Whilst they were little kids, they're obviously going through without realizing as well, because it's normal to them. Remember I was saying how me growing up in certain environments is normal? This is for them. What they was growing up in was normal. I was a piece of shit, to be fair. Not of bad intent or anything, but I have to
just
acknowledge.
without direction.
Yeah, I know no direction.
I get it.
I'm very immature. I think that I know it all, and they experienced that side of me. But I would say this: I was never stagnant in my process. So I was always growing. I was never the same person for a year anyway. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Except for one time where I wasn't the same person. I completely went backwards and had to start all over again.
So what centers you now then? Is it what you, for anyone listening, what keeps your mind in such a strong spot? What is your like your daily routine? What keeps Zaid strong and disciplined?
Honestly, what keeps me strong?
Yeah.
God. I swear to God, God keeps me strong. I think about God all the time. I ask God at a time of need, and I'm grateful to God for everything I have, and times not in need. And whatever I ask God for, He gives it to me. He gives me strength. I can't take credit for my strength. I take credit for the effort that I put in to get stronger with the strength that God gives me. I appreciate all the abilities that God's given me as a human being to evolve. Like, I take accountability. My evolution is my responsibility.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm slapping God in the face by not maxing my potential, which is something that I've come to terms with quite recently over the last couple of years, to be fair. I feel like I'm doing myself, God, and everyone around me a disservice if I'm just complacent with being normal. So I'm getting better and better every day. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I will get there, tell you that. I will get there, and the process it's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You have a story of yourself. You told me a story. Your story was amazing.
No, it's a constant state of improved mentality, because I know what happens when you get complacent, whether it's in business, whether it's your body works with your training. When you get complacent, that's when bad stuff happens, and I know that shows up in my behaviour and habits and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, what would you say? Because we've got about 5 minutes left, mate. One of the reasons, and this is maybe fitting to sort of wrap this last 5 minutes up, I feel there's a lot of people who make excuses for not having time, not having the right conditions, the right circumstances to exercise regularly, to look after themselves. What's your words for those people? I mean, because one of the things that astounds me with you, Zayd, like for anyone listening to this, he's in fantastic shape, and it's not all about how you look, right? Ultimately, you know, how you feel about how you look and how you feel in general is equally as important. But I feel so many people make excuses for not having time or not having the perfect conditions. But you are someone who has completely, you know, overrode your conditions where you can't visibly see, but you still get your shit done. What would you say to people who are making excuses when it comes to looking after themselves?
The fact of the matter is, there are no valid excuses at all. So making up excuses is pointless, worthless, and pathetic. I understand, obviously, because I came from it. And I understand that people are going through difficulties and it's uncomfortable not doing the things that you know needs to be done. Yeah, so I get it. But the fact of the matter is, I'll be doing people a disservice if I was to sit there and be entertaining excuses. Excuses doesn't do anything for anyone. It literally doesn't do anything. In fact, not only does it not do anything for you, it makes things worse. So why opt to make excuses to make a situation that you're complaining about, making excuses for, worse than what it already is by making excuses? It's pointless. And I think people need to come to terms with that life is difficult, and there are good times and bad times, and it's never going to end. The only time it's going to end is when you die. So come to terms with it's a never-ending journey. Stop making excuses and complaining about any situations, because there's always someone that's worse than you, and you see people that are a lot worse than you cracking on. So if you're not cracking on whilst people in a less position than you, or people with not as much difficulty as with way more difficulty than you're going through, and you see them cracking on, then you should feel ashamed of making excuses. Crack on. No complaining, no excuses, crack on. You know what needs to be done. You have a body that you've been gifted with. You're with that body for the rest of your life. At least learn about it, understand it. Understand it. What do you need to stay healthy? What do you need to become stronger? Okay, now I'm learning about my body. Let's learn about my emotions, my mind. Who am I? Forget about the noise in the world. Stop being distracted. You're living by yourself. You're going to die by yourself. Learn about yourself. Come to know yourself. Develop yourself. And then, what can I say after that? To be fair, that's all I can really stress to people. Learn about yourself. Develop your personality. Develop your body. Look after your body. You're stuck with it forever. So the wisest thing to do is to learn how it functions, learn how it works. You're stuck with your mind forever. Learn how your mind functions, learn how it works. You're stuck with people forever. Learn how to maintain relationships. You're stuck in societies. Learn how societies work so you can optimize your position in society. Learn things that you know is definitely important because you are there living it. Doesn't make sense ignoring it. Do you know what I mean, Kirk?
100%. I mean, the big takeaway from you today as well, Zayd, in their amazing words, by the way, is be brave enough to step into the person you know in your heart you can become.
Facts.
And don't wait for something bad to happen for that to happen. You know, I know it's took I suppose traumas in some way for myself to actually step into my true potential. And God forbid, you know, obviously what happened to you, Zayd, maybe if that hadn't happened, I know when we spoke privately, when we first met for a coffee, you said if maybe you hadn't lost your eyesight, would you be the person you are today?
100% not.
But
I appreciate that.
You know, and it's so incredibly inspiring, Zayd, it really is, mate. What's the goal moving forward then for Zayd? What's the mission, mate? Like,
the mission is...
What do you want to... Yeah, what's your as a person, as a partner, as a father, like, what is your mission in
my
life?
personal mission is this, is to maximize my potential and not to have a relationship or connection with anybody unless I'm bringing value to them. Otherwise there's no point of us knowing each other. And my purpose is literally to be the best I can be in order to be of value to my family, people around me, serve. If I serve people, I'm serving God. Yeah. All God wants to do is express himself through you by doing virtuous things. Be the best you can be nice, be kind, be giving. Obviously you're going to mess up, you're a human being. Acknowledge your mess ups, overcome them, keep it moving and keep getting better and better and better and better. Don't allow the devil and all these negative stuff to express itself for you. It's a constant battle. Evil trying to express his way for you every single day. I lie?
Yeah.
Fear, anxiety, all that stuff. They're trying to express itself. Overcome that. You have the choice. You've been given the freedom of choice, literally, to manage your thoughts, to manage your emotions and make decisions based on all these external experience that you're getting. Makes sense?
Absolutely.
So as a result, you make choice and you decide where you're going to go. It's all on you. You're accountable.
Yeah. I love it. If there's one man that's accountable, who has the right to say stay accountable, it's you, Zayd. Honestly,
I appreciate your kind words. I know you big him up more than I deserve to be bigged up.
It's not, mate. Listen,
I appreciate it, man. Nonetheless,
honestly, Zayd, anyone listening, like, I just want to amplify what Zayd said. You know, this man has had one of the most precious gifts taken away from him.
It is precious, man.
Right, the most precious gift is to see the world, right? And he has still pushed on. You've developed an even stronger mindset. You developed even stronger relationships. You're a better parent, better partner because of it. And you built a great business. You're now helping install not just jiu-jitsu skills in people, but also like life skills, resilience that people can carry over into their business, you know?
Learning how to fight is a byproduct.
Yeah.
Staying in shape is a byproduct of that.
Absolutely.
Being financial dependent is a byproduct of that.
But it all starts
discipline.
It all starts in the
Resilience.
mind.
Exactly, 100%.
Absolutely. So where can people find you on your social media, Zayd? Because I know you're very active on there.
Yeah, I'm active on social media. So you can find me at Base9Zaid on Instagram, TikTok. You can see us on YouTube at Base9 Submission Grappling.
Also, your business as well. I know you do different classes, don't you? You do one-to-ones as well.
I do one-to-one. So I primarily focus on, like yourself, for obvious reason, entrepreneurs and professionals, for the sole reason that these people have already proven their capability of seeing things throughout to the end in order to attain what they want. That's the quality of this. Yeah. And these are people that are willing to pay for anything they see value in. I've tried doing it for people less than that because I want to help everybody. But unfortunately, you can't help everybody. You have to help people that want to help themselves. Yeah. So
you can't. If someone's not ready to be coached,
exactly. I realize those people that are not ready to express and change. They either not in a position to even identify the value, or they are, but they're not willing to spend on the things that they think are valuable. It's just a mindset that comes with people from that kind of a mindset. So you can't please everybody. Therefore, I think I'm doing a disservice to myself by trying to put myself out there for people that won't appreciate or identify the value. So, and it's not for everybody. My approach isn't for everybody, but it's for those who do come.
Yeah, you do.
So if you're someone out there that sees value in becoming the better self, helping to discover your own ability to change and discover your potential and take control of your mind, then I have my methods, doing it my way. Everyone's got their way. I'm intrigued at your way as well. I see you. You got your methods. They clearly work for the people that come.
Yeah, but like you said, and that's why we'll wrap this up here. It's like Zayd's not trying to force his way on you, and I'm not trying to force my way on anyone listening to this, because ultimately you can have the best tools in the world, and have the best system, the best training method, but if someone's not ready to change, it's a waste of time. So, dude, mate, you're an absolute monster of a man, Zayd. I'm very, very grateful for your time again.
Thank you as well.
And please check this man out. I mean, just lastly, I have to say this before we wrap up. And this I still find in disbelief. I was talking about this before we kicked off this episode. When I first met Zayd in a coffee shop, it was in Westfield. For anyone who doesn't know this is an extremely busy shopping centre, which is absolutely packed. Thousands of people walking past. And Zayd, he'd mapped the route out in his head. He'd memorised the route literally and found his way off tubes without... Didn't you memorise the route to meet me in Cafe Nero? I still find it absolutely outstanding how someone can do that who can't see. It's crazy. And you got people fucking moaning about stuff. It's
for real. Moaning about
it's madness. Yet you still find a way. And I think that's, the takeaway. There's many takeaways, Zayd, but for me, Zayd is the ultimate fucking example that you always find a way to keep moving forward. If something or someone means that much to you, you'll always find a way. You can find a way. And this man sat opposite me today is living testament to that. So please check him out. Zayd, thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Kirky, my brother. And, thanks for having me on. I appreciate your time.
And I'll see you next time.
For sure, definitely.